All right, let's dive into the philosophy of Seneca.
Seneca.
Yeah. This guy was a Roman philosopher. He actually advised Emperor Nero.
Oh, wow.
Talk about office politics, right? But Seneca was a Stoic,
Hmm.
and his ideas on happiness are still surprisingly relevant today.
Right?
Even though they're like almost 2,000 years old,
Wow.
you might be surprised to know that his ideas can actually help us deal with all the craziness of modern life.
Interesting.
Today, we're going to be extracting the essence of Seneca's wisdom
Okay.
on how to find, lasting happiness
Mm-hmm.
instead of just chasing those fleeting pleasures.
So would you say that the core of Stoicism is what, like using reason to have a good life?
Well, it's about using reason and virtue
Yep.
to live a good life. It's also about understanding the natural order of things
Wow.
and finding that inner peace within yourself, even when things are tough.
So who was this guy?
Give us the Seneca 101.
Okay, so Seneca the Younger, he was actually born in Roman Spain
Okay.
in 4 BCE. He was a philosopher, he was a playwright, and get this, he even served as an advisor to Emperor Nero.
Can you even imagine the drama?
Oh, I can only imagine.
In that palace?
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Talk about like a stressful job.
Yeah.
Seneca lived through some serious political upheaval.
I bet.
Exile, forced suicide.
Wow.
So, his philosophy was definitely put to the test.
Yeah, it's like road tested for sure.
Yeah, he wrote a ton of stuff.
I bet.
But his letters are where he gets really practical. Think of it as like ancient self-help, but like way deeper.
I like that. So if you want to check out his most famous work, it's actually called Letters from a Stoic,
Okay.
and it is full of wisdom that is surprisingly relevant today.
Totally.
So that brings us to what Seneca believed about happiness.
Oh?
So I don't know about you, but when I think about the Romans, I kind of picture like gladiators and feasts.
Yeah.
Not exactly what we would call inner peace, right?
Not exactly Zen vibes.
So how did Seneca define happiness? What was his secret?
So for Seneca, it really all came down to inner peace.
Okay.
He believed that true happiness isn't about what happens to you, but how you react to it.
That's powerful.
Yeah, he was convinced we could actually master our minds and our emotions, and that's where real freedom and contentment come from.
It's like kind of like mindfulness, right?
Yeah,
Finding that calm within yourself,
exactly.
even when everything around you is completely chaotic.
It's pretty amazing how much Seneca's ideas actually line up with modern psychology.
Right.
But there's more to it than just feeling good.
Okay.
Seneca believed in being good.
Okay.
Virtue was a big deal to him.
So it's not just about happiness as a feeling,
Right.
but about happiness that comes from living a good life
Exactly.
with purpose and
Yes.
integrity, being the best version of yourself, basically.
You got it. He believed that living virtuously, things like wisdom, justice, courage, those were the keys to true fulfillment.
It wasn't about chasing pleasure.
Right.
It was about being the best that you could be.
Becoming the best version of yourself. Yeah.
Now, I've heard of another big idea from Seneca
Okay.
that seems a bit counterintuitive at first. It's called amor fati,
Oh,
which means like love of fate.
love of fate. What's that all about?
Yeah, what is that all about?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Amor fati is all about radical acceptance.
Okay.
It means embracing everything that life throws at you.
Wow.
The good, the bad, the totally unexpected. Seneca believed that by accepting what we can't control, we actually reduce our suffering
Okay.
and find a deeper level of peace.
So it's like surrendering to what life brings you instead of fighting against it?
That's a good way to put it.
But does that mean just letting life happen to us, becoming passive?
So that's a common misunderstanding.
Okay.
Amor fati isn't about being passive.
Gotcha.
It's about choosing your response. You can't always control events, but you can control how you react to them, how you make sense of them.
Okay.
And that's where true freedom lies.
Okay, that makes sense. So we can't always control what happens,
Right.
but we can control our attitude.
You got it.
There's actually a really powerful example from Seneca's own life.
Oh, yeah.
He was exiled by Emperor Nero,
Yeah.
but faced it with incredible resilience.
Exactly. That's amor fati in action.
Totally.
He didn't waste energy complaining about his fate.
Right.
He focused on what he could control, his thoughts, his inner world.
So inner peace, virtue, accepting fate, those are some pretty big ideas.
They are.
But Seneca also had practical methods for finding happiness, right?
Absolutely.
Not just theories.
He wasn't just a philosopher.
Right.
He gave us real tools that we can use in everyday life.
And some of them are pretty surprising.
Oh, yeah.
Like negative visualization.
I know, right?
Which, honestly, it sounds a little ominous.
It does sound a little dark, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But trust me, it's brilliant.
Right.
Negative visualization is all about mentally preparing for the worst-case scenario.
So you're saying, like, imagine everything that could go wrong.
Yeah, it's about imagining everything that could go wrong.
Okay.
And really feeling that fear and anxiety.
Okay, and then... Don't leave me hanging.
And then you realize, hey, it's probably not going to be that bad.
Okay.
And even if it is, you've already mentally rehearsed how you'll handle it.
Okay.
You've taken away the power of the unknown.
So instead of letting fear paralyze you,
right,
you face it head on in your mind.
Exactly.
It's like a mental vaccine against anxiety.
Now you're getting it.
Wow.
And you know what?
Yeah.
This technique is actually used in modern cognitive behavioral therapy.
Really?
To help people deal with anxiety and overcome phobias.
Wow, that's so interesting.
I know, right?
Okay, so negative visualization, check.
Check.
What other tricks did Seneca have up his sleeve?
Well, remember how we talked about focusing on what you can control?
Yeah.
Seneca had a whole method based on that.
So in any given situation, where does our power lie?
Okay, good question.
Like, what can we actually influence?
Your reactions.
Okay.
Your attitude. Your choices. Those are the things that you have control over.
Okay.
Everything else. The weather, other people's actions, the stock market. Those are outside your direct control.
So by letting go of trying to control the uncontrollable,
yeah,
we free ourselves from a lot of stress and frustration.
Exactly. It's about accepting reality as it is and focusing your energy on what you can change.
Yeah.
It's a powerful mindset shift.
Totally.
And you know what else Seneca was big on?
What's that?
Detaching from material possessions.
Now that's a tough one.
I know, right?
Especially in our consumerist society.
It is.
It's like we're constantly bombarded with messages about what we should have. You know, it's so easy to forget what we actually need.
Yeah. And Seneca was a minimalist way before it was trendy.
Right.
He truly believed that happiness comes from appreciating what you have.
Okay.
Not constantly chasing after more stuff. He even suggested trying out voluntary simplicity.
Like giving up comforts to reset your expectations.
Exactly.
You know, Seneca would not have been impressed by my shoe collection.
Maybe he suggests a little experiment for you.
Oh.
Try living without some of those non-essentials for a week.
Interesting.
See how it feels.
Okay.
You might be surprised by what you learn about yourself and your true needs.
That's a great challenge. What could you live without for a week? Food for thought, right?
Definitely. Welcome back to our deep dive into Seneca's wisdom.
Seneca's got a lot to say.
He does.
I'm ready for more.
Last time, we were talking about how he believed in detaching from material things.
Oh, yeah.
It's more relevant now than ever, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Back then, he would actually give up comforts and luxuries on purpose, just to remind himself that happiness doesn't come from stuff.
It's like hitting the reset button on what we think we need.
Exactly.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in wanting more, especially with like all the ads and social media these days.
It is.
So what else did Seneca have to say about living a good life?
Well, this might sound counterintuitive.
Okay.
But he was all about embracing adversity.
Embracing adversity.
He saw obstacles as opportunities to grow.
It's like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Right.
But Seneca took it even further.
Yeah, he didn't think it was just about surviving tough times.
Okay.
It was about using those challenges to actually thrive.
Thrive.
Yeah, think about it. When things get rough, you have to dig deep and find your inner strength. That's how you develop resilience, courage, wisdom.
I love that. It's so easy to like get discouraged when things are hard.
I know.
But what if we looked at those times as a chance to, you know, level up?
Yeah.
To become more resilient.
Exactly.
I like it.
And you know what's really cool?
What?
Modern science backs this up.
Get out.
Our brains are actually wired to bounce back from setbacks.
What? Really?
It's called neuroplasticity.
Oh, I've heard of that.
The brain's ability to adapt and change.
So we're not just stuck with whatever challenges life throws at us.
Yep.
We have the power to choose how we respond.
Yeah.
And learn from those experiences.
Exactly.
That's pretty empowering.
It is.
So cool.
And speaking of powerful tools, one of Seneca's most effective methods for finding happiness is actually super simple.
What is it?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Oh, it's funny how easy it is to take the good things for granted,
It is.
especially when we're, so focused on what we're missing or what we want next.
I know, it's so easy to get caught up in that.
Yeah.
Seneca was ahead of his time on this one.
Mm.
He knew that gratitude was a key ingredient for happiness.
Okay.
He encouraged people to really appreciate the present moment and savor the little things, no matter how small.
It's like they say, it's not happy people who are thankful.
Yeah.
It's thankful people who are happy.
Love that.
Gratitude shifts your perspective.
It really does.
That's powerful.
And there's tons of research in positive psychology showing that gratitude has all sorts of benefits.
Like what?
Less stress, a stronger immune system, better sleep.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right?
I'm sold. How did Seneca suggest we cultivate gratitude?
Okay, so one of his go-to practices was keeping a gratitude journal.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Each day,
Mm-hmm.
write down 3 things you're grateful for,
Okay.
big or small.
I like that.
It forces you to pause and appreciate the good things instead of just letting them slip by.
It can be anything, right?
Yeah, anywhere.
Like a beautiful day, a good cup of coffee,
Yeah.
a kind word from someone.
Exactly.
Those are good ones.
The point is to make it a habit,
Okay.
to consciously shift your attention to the good stuff in your life.
So far, we've talked about Seneca's core beliefs about happiness
Yeah.
and some of his key methods. Mm-hmm.
We've covered negative visualization,
Yes.
focusing on what we can control,
Right.
letting go of material things,
Mm.
embracing hard times, and practicing gratitude.
It's a pretty amazing toolkit
It is.
for a better life.
It really is. And what's mind-blowing is how much these ideas from ancient Rome
Yeah.
still apply today.
No.
You might not be facing a Roman emperor, but you've got your own challenges.
For sure.
Information overload,
Yeah.
social media comparisons, the pressure to achieve all the time.
It's like we're living in a world that desperately needs Seneca's wisdom.
I agree.
But on a serious note, his philosophy offers a path to peace in a world that's super anxious.
Yeah.
A way to find simplicity in a world obsessed with stuff, and a way to be resilient when everything feels uncertain.
And it's like he's a life coach from 2,000 years ago.
That's a great way to put it.
Seneca.
He really was ahead of his time.
He was. That's the thing about wisdom. It lasts.
Seneca's insights are just as valuable today as
Okay.
they were back then.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you want our listener to take away from Seneca's teachings?
That's a good one.
What's the heart of his message for us today?
I think it comes down to this.
Okay.
Real happiness isn't something you find out there in the world. It's something you create within yourself.
I love that.
It's about mastering your mind,
Yes.
aligning your life with what's good, and seeing life's challenges as opportunities to grow.
Well said.
And remember,
Yeah,
it's a journey, not a destination.
exactly.
Welcome back to this deep dive into the world of Seneca. It's amazing how relevant his ideas are, even though he lived, like, centuries ago.
I know, right?
We've been talking about how he believed true happiness comes from within, from mastering your mind and choosing virtue.
Right.
It's not about external stuff or what happens to you.
You know what else is really inspiring about Seneca? He truly believed in the potential for human goodness. He thought everyone has the capacity for virtue and happiness,
Really?
no matter what their circumstances are.
It's like he's saying we all have the power to choose a own path.
Yeah, it's not about being born lucky or rich.
Right.
It's about deciding to live in a way that's rational and in harmony with nature.
That's exactly it. He wasn't saying it was easy,
Right.
but he believed that anyone could choose this path of self-improvement.
It's a lifelong journey
Mm-hmm.
of learning, growing, and trying to live by your values.
That's such an empowering message, especially in a world where it can feel like you're just being tossed around by things you can't control.
It's true.
Seneca reminds you that you always have a choice in how you respond to whatever life throws at you.
He does. He really does.
And that's why his philosophy still resonates with people today.
Yeah.
It gives you a framework for living a meaningful life, even when things are chaotic and unpredictable.
Absolutely.
We've covered a lot of Seneca's ideas in this deep dive.
We had...
But it's all just talk unless you actually put it into practice.
Right. I completely agree.
Yeah.
So here's a challenge for you.
Okay, I like challenges.
Pick one of Seneca's methods that spoke to you
Okay.
and try it out this week. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. Start small.
Maybe it's starting that gratitude journal we talked about.
That's a great one.
Or maybe it's consciously focusing on what you can control the next time you're in a stressful situation.
Yeah. Love that.
Or you could try negative visualization before a big presentation or something that's making you anxious.
Good idea.
Whatever it is, make a conscious effort to apply Seneca's wisdom in your own life and see what happens.
And remember,
Yeah.
it's a process.
Right.
Don't get discouraged if you don't see results right away.
Totally.
The important thing is to keep practicing, to keep moving toward that inner peace and fulfillment that Seneca believed is possible for everyone.
Well said. Seneca shows us that it's possible to find peace and meaning even when things are tough. And that's a powerful message for all of us today.
It is.
And on that hopeful note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of Seneca.
It's been a good one.
It has.
Learned a lot.
We hope you've learned something valuable today, and most importantly, that you're walking away with a sense of hope and possibility.
Until next time.
Keep seeking, keep learning, and keep diving deep.